Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? We back again, live at it to recap this draft. It's me, obviously, JR Clark, here with my guys, Toby and Mike. Jimmy, he had to work, so in that aspect, we pulled in Adam again from Atlanta on air. So, guys, what's up? We did it. The draft's done. The draft's over. We know who we got. We know who we picked. We ain't got to worry about it no more in that sense. Now we just figure out how we going to plug these guys in. How y'all feeling tonight?
Man, I'm feeling stoked, man. That's been my word for a couple of days now, and I'm sticking with it, man. I feel real good about where we're going, what we're trying to do. I'm not going to give a grade, so I'm just going to tell y'all that right now, because I just think it's too early for that. I need to see what Terry and Arthur are still working with, and how they're going to, do what they need to do to get this roster the way that they need to have it before I make that give a grade on it.
Right. Mike, what's your early thoughts?
I mean, I think that this draft for me, I think it filled a lot of potholes. I think that, we were a team that, we kind of had a lot of gray areas. So I think we addressed a lot of gray areas. So for me, I would say there are a lot of picks, in this particular draft for me that I think it kind of reinforces the interior a little bit, especially on the offensive line. I think double dipping on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get into heavily here. That's interesting.
Absolutely. I know, and yeah, we definitely gonna touch on it. But I think that it solidifies definitely the offensive side of the ball. But just a lot to cover, man. Excited. Like I said, glad to see these guys in the
Adam,
fall, man.
What's your early thoughts?
I'm excited. Yeah, we actually have a signing, a really exciting signing right now. JV and Hawkins.
Cool. Okay, so there's your running back.
He was the slasher they were looking for, and I'm really sorry. I had to break that. I'm sitting here. I'm so giddy. I'm really giddy. So I was excited about that. They also signed a safety, Mississippi State safety, Marcus Murphy. I don't know too much about him, but Hawkins.
But I will say this though. Like one thing we can go ahead and jump into. It seems like they really went into this draft with a mission of like shoring up and solidifying this secondary. After like last year being probably one of the worst units that in the league as far as like pass defense. I know we were ranked like down in the bottom on all categories that you want to talk about. So you go in and you get a Richie Grant in the second round. You get a Darren Hall. Is that the gentleman's name?
Yeah.
Darren Hall. That's it. You get a Darren Hall in the fourth round, and then you also get an Avery Williams, which he seems to be more like a special teamer, but who knows how that ends up. Like some guys can come in and still produce anyway, but you spend 3 picks on the secondary to go along with Eric Harris and Deron Harmon and Fabian Moreau. Like this secondary is going to look a lot different than it did last year, and I'm pretty excited about that for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of the spots where they stack. If I counted it right, they got about 9 cornerbacks now that's going to be fighting for spots. But we all know that Dean Pease defense heavily relies on what they do in the secondary on that back end, because you're going to rack up a lot of coverage stacks when you got guys on that back end that can do what they need to do. And you reward them by having high motor, high effort guys up front, that which we already had on this roster. So if you're going to have a strong secondary, that's going to benefit some of the guys we already had, like John Kaminsky, Marlon Davidson, Grady Jarrett, all those guys to be able to help us with the guys that just came in through the draft to be able to get to the quarterback because we got high motor, high energy guys.
Absolutely.
And one of the best ways, like there's plenty of different ways to go about building your roster, building your team, building your philosophy. There are some guys who, like a Ron Rivera, is more about building his defensive line than he is necessarily about his secondary. And then, you have guys where it seems like a Dean Pease is more of a, building a stout secondary to give his defensive line time to work. So there's different philosophies to achieve the same goal. But the fact is that we got better today with the players that we picked that should allow us, guys like Grady. How many times did he almost get to the quarterback? And then the quarterback get the ball out of his hand. Or, potentially seeing, what Marlon Davidson and John Kaminsky can bring to the table. The part that I am liking the most about this draft, looking at this draft class with the roster that we have, with the free agent moves that we made, there shouldn't be anybody on that roster that should feel comfortable right now. Outside of Matt Ryan, because I don't think he's worried about A.J. McCarron. But, so outside of Matt Ryan, there shouldn't be anybody who's feeling all that comfortable about their position after today. Maybe Grady. We didn't really add any to the linebacker. Okay, so fine. The secondary class and and the O-line. The secondary and the O-line. Because the O-line is something I definitely want to talk about here in a minute. But they brought in guys who can come in and compete at pretty much every level. And I absolutely love that philosophy that we're seeing, from an Arthur Smith, from a Terry Fontenot, is that competitive. It seems like they're really wanting to bring that out in the roster.
Absolutely. I think one more thing. I think these picks look like, a head coach and general manager combo that kind of mean what they say. I think, this is what we feel like is the best. We're not going to kind of skate around it. We're going to get guys that we feel like are going to come in and make an imprint on this team. And we got a lot more of those guys than I think we may have realized because, here's the thing. People always like to say before the draft, they'll say, well, you'll be lucky to get 3 starters. But I think, when you got guys that want to come in and compete, you'll take as many guys as you could, that can come in and play. Because, again, Russell Gage, a guy like Russell Gage, he should really take notice of that Frank Darby pick, to be honest with you. Because, again, as soon as I turn on this guy's tape, I see him he is a deep pass nightmare. I think if we can get the ball to a guy like that in space, and he'll have a lot of single coverage, because, hey, Kyle Pitts and, when we really kind of take a step back, collect ourselves and really look at this team, hey, I don't even think we begin to digest just what this draft means for the Falcons yet. But, we got time to do that, but it's exciting.
That's what we're going to do all offseason is pontificate, like dissect this from one way or the other. But let's go ahead and before we jump into chat, I want to touch off on this offensive line for a minute. Now, Adam, earlier this morning you jumped in and started doing some film study on Jalen Mayfield. And I'm curious to hear your early thoughts because he's a name that when it got called last night, all of us were like, pulling up, Google searching, hitting some quick highlights to try to get an idea of who we just picked. So what have you seen in your study with him?
So I knew of him as a right tackle prospect. I still think he could be a right tackle, but it was clear as day that he's going to be a guard for us. Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot both reiterated that yesterday after day 2. But in my findings, he's not like the prototypical outside zone kind of guard, like kind of light in the pants and kind of can move all over. He's kind of Roger Saffold. He's a Roger Saffold from Tennessee. Okay. He can move, and he can get to the second level and create running lanes by just like play knowledge. I feel like his IQ is really good because he's able to get to the second level without too many steps. So he doesn't have to take these steps that like a sub 300-pound offensive lineman that usually is in that scheme would have to do and get out and create leverage that way. He creates leverage by being so physically dominating. And like when we drafted him, he said he forklifts dudes. Like that's an understatement. Against Alabama, Alabama's by far always got the biggest fronts, and he was moving those guys off the ball.
Absolutely.
And I was shocked because Michigan's a bad program. Like, I just be honest, whatever. I'm a Ohio State fan, but most people know
I say Harbaugh ain't done much up there.
No, and he moves guys. I was very, like, you guys know, I'm really unbiased in my film study, so I didn't hold that he's from Michigan against him, but he was moving guys, sealing edges, getting to second level. When they asked him to pull, like, I was really focusing on when they were asking him to pull, because he'll be doing that a lot as a guard. And he was fine. Like, I was pretty shocked because he was able to reach block, pull guys, and just create massive running lanes. Like, even if the running back didn't hit his hole, like, that's kind of the thing where you study film and you're like, oh, that's a good trait, even though the play went awry and didn't go properly, right? But he's creating running lanes. He looks good. The thing that bothers me is so they're going to play as a guard. They're going to play him as a guard.
Right.
Okay. And this could be my bias, but Wyatt Davis was there. He's already a guard. He's already a good left guard. So for me, I'm going to, like, 3 years down the road, if Wyatt Davis cements himself as like a top 12 guard in this league, and we're still trying to figure out with Mayfield, and then you combine that with us trying to win now, it kind of makes me question, why didn't we just go with the pure guard right away? But if I can see what they're seeing, like, if they're looking for a higher ceiling, because Wyatt Davis's floor is really high. His ceiling's not so high. Like, he's not going to be a top 5 guard. I think Mayfield has potential to be not a top 5 guard, but I feel like he could be
solid
above average. Above average to good, which is really good for your offense.
That's what we need, and that's what. And to your point, that I would say, the one thing about him is he is probably the one that speaks the loudest to me. Like, he has this calm presence about him, because if you listen to him in his interviews, you can tell that this is definitely a smart guy. He understands what it means to be, the Michigan man, basically, that kind of thing, just basically, one of those guys that will come in and learn and play and be competitive, just one of those blue blood type of guys. I think that he'll come in, be above average, and his presence alone, I think, will be able to improve our running game. I think, for Mike Davis, I think that move, to me, Mike Davis is probably more excited about that, because that's going to give him just a little bit more of that ability to spring, push the ball outside a little bit more, like he likes to do as well. So I think, Mayfield will be a pick that we'll look back and, when we look at the kind of the re-engineering or the reprogramming of this line, it'll kind of start with the guys like that, because, I'm looking at this, like I said, while we're talking about the offensive line right now with Dalman.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to get into Dalman next, because I'm curious, like, honestly, like, was it something that they saw on, like, Hennessy's film from college that made them really want to, like, because they were in on David Andrews in free agency. Obviously, they missed out on him. Arthur Smith sees something in Hennessy that he's not a huge fan of, or at least that he wants to have that competition. Apparently he wanted a veteran competition. Didn't get that really, so now you bring in Dalman out of Stanford, another smart, offensive lineman. Like, now Hennessy, by all accounts, is also a very smart offensive lineman coming out of Temple. So it'll be interesting to see how that battle, plays out. One thing I heard about with, I almost heard conflicting reports. Some people say Dalman, like, is a little light in the pants and isn't necessarily strong. But then I hear like other people saying, and excuse my language, like classifying him as an ass kicker. So
I see a little baby Alex Mack in him. I'm sorry, I just had to get that out there, because I'll be honest with you. I think he's a smart profile guy that I think is not going to make a lot of mistakes. I think he, the thing about it is, it's the same thing with Hennessy though. They kind of look a little bit similar. It's like they're smart. They look good on tape, but I just think Dalman's got a little bit more. He's more of a technician than Hennessy, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Dalman start from first
Adam,
game.
What's your early thoughts on Dalman?
So in just as speaking, so I wasn't a fan of Hennessy coming out. That's no secret. That was kind of so he's really light in the pants. I think we drafted him at 285. And I think Dalman he's out 295. So he's got 10 pounds on him. There's no question in me that Dalman's way more stronger on his anchor. And just alluding to Mayfield and Lindstrom, when you have a small center like that, you want two big towering guards like Lindstrom and Mayfield. So it makes sense. So Dalman fits this scheme to a T. He's way more stronger. Like I can tell you that the first thing that popped off the film to me for Hennessy was he gets the initial punch from the D lineman. He's already back 3 yards. And Dalman at least can hold up at the point of attack. And that was my biggest thing. I always thought Hennessy was like a plug and play or a plug in, like a situational guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like if he has to come in, he can. I didn't think he was a starter level guy. I think we reached for need last year a little bit because we needed somebody to come in. But Dalman, to me, he does like he's as mobile as Hennessy is.
Right.
He's just got way more play strength to me at the point of attack. That's my initial. I looked through 2 games.
Yeah,
that's what I've seen. And
he looks smart. Definitely going
to
dig into. I watched a little bit of Dalman, and I mean I liked what I saw, but it was something that I wanted to compare him to Hennessy's college tape and see go back and look and see what they see in Hennessy to make them really want another. I know we tried Hennessy at guard, which I thought was silly, to begin with. Oh my God. And so I was really hoping to myself, I'm like, okay, I hope they're not going off of that tape, because Hennessy looked lost at guard the entire time. And the last 2 games when he came in at center, I thought he looked better. Like I thought he looked like a rookie.
Yeah, he did.
But I thought he looked better. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree. Yeah.
Well, I'm all for. Last point on that is I'm all for bringing somebody in to compete with them for sure. So Toby, what you got?
Right. So I'll tell you. So I'll tell you off the rip what I see just from my opinion, and I tweeted this out. There's a theme that's going on with him and Jalen Mayfield. One of the two things that I noticed is they're more quick to fire off the snap of the ball than some of the other guys. And I think that's one of the things that Dwayne Ledford is going to stress, getting off the snap of the ball a lot quicker, because you got guys that time your snap on the defensive side of the ball. So it's the same type of philosophy. If I can get a bead on you before you get a bead on me when I'm snapping off the ball, that slows guys down like Shaq Barrett. That slows guys down like Jordan from being able to time your snap and get off the ball when I'm able to snap back quicker. And that's what I noticed in these 2 guys. The other thing is that I noticed in both these guys, this is why I say you bring guys in that you want to be the model of what it is you're going to be stressing and teaching to your O-line. And the other thing is you got guys that are nasty and play through the whistle guys. These are guys we had when we had Todd McClure, who was not a big guy as a center, but he had 2 guys on the other side of him with Justin Blaylock and Harvey Dahl at one point. And Harvey Dahl is actually a guy who Jalen reminds me of as having that nasty feel to him. So he's going at the left guard. I mean, you really got guys that are going to be really competing for that left guard or center spot. Josh Andrews, who you just brought in here as a free agent, he is hungry to take a starting spot. And you got Matt Hennessy and Jalen Mayfield competing for either a left guard or center, because Jalen has said that he's played all 5 positions on the offensive line. So you got guys that's going to be seriously competitive coming in day one that's going to be looking to take somebody's job.
And that's how you infuse a running game, though. That's a key step to infuse.
What I like, honestly, is you feel like you are going to come away with the best 5 that you got on the O-line, and not like the best 5 out of necessity. Not the best 5 out of, this is who we got. I don't feel like we're going to have to do like we did a few years ago and trade away a pick to get an Andy Levitre late in camp, type deal. So I'm absolutely intrigued by the fact that I think these 2 offensive linemen also put Caleb McGarry on notice, especially the Jalen Mayfield pick. I know they said that, they got him for guard, but you also got to be thinking in the back of their mind, they seen the film of McGarry struggling against speed rushers, and you have to know that, they're also probably going to want to try him there too. So yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see how this offensive line comes together over the summer. All right, well, that was our opening salvo, so let's go ahead and hit up chat there. That was a good opening.
I know they popping.
It is very much popping. Raheem says, "What's up?" Same thing with Kojak. What's going on with peoples? Yabo Deezy said, rise up, fan. What's going on, buddy? Bubba Gump's in here with us. Raheem says, I love every pick, but I do have to admit I had mixed feelings about the first pick. But I watched some highlights and got over it very fast. Great draft. I think that's what a lot of people are going. As always, as the realization sets in of this is who our draft class is, and then as you go back and watch, highlight tapes or watch film, however you want to dissect it, because I really feel like if you're in this chat with us on the third day in a row of streaming, that you're probably a lot like us, and you're going to be pulling up YouTube watching, game clips and film of these draft picks, and I think once you start watching it, you'll have a better idea. Like, I think it'll become a lot clearer. Like your game, like the fog will clear and you'll see what these guys are really looking for. I'm super excited about the Richie Grant pick to finally have a legitimate safety. Legitimate free safety that we haven't had in years.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about him. But let's keep trucking along down through chat here. Somebody's bringing up that we got Hawkins. Javen Hawkins. I think that's the running back. That was a part that was interesting. That was one of the things that I was like, oh, they're going to draft a running back. I mean, they got to draft. Not that they got to, but I felt like that was a position that you were almost guaranteed to draft. And they didn't. But that shows me that they were staying true to their board, that they weren't reaching. And they even commented, like Fontenot even commented that they weren't going to reach for a running back. Even though they needed one.
Right, yeah.
They're talking about, like, the coaches were in another room because they could only have, like, 10 folks in the war room or whatever. And they're talking about every time that they drafted an O-lineman, you heard the O-lineman coach Ledbetter hooping and hollering from down the hall. Apparently he was
you're about
Ledford. I said Ledbetter, but Ledford.
Yeah, you gave Orlando plug there, bro.
He's all up in there anyway, right? So it was interesting to hear some of the stuff coming out of like the comments that are being made. I really do feel like they stuck with that BPA philosophy. Even Jay Black 142 says, I believe that the BPA philosophy was used, and I am impressed with the new GM and HC. They are a great combo. We look great going for the future. We'll see. Like I'm not trying to cement these guys with gold jackets just yet, just like a rookie class. Like we'll talk about it in 2 or 3 years of like how well these guys really are, But what I am impressed with, it does very much look like they went BPA as far as their board goes, and they stuck to their guns, and that part I am happy about. All right, keep on moving. Willie Doc says, "What pound for pound 3 days in a row? We are so blessed. Thanks, guys. Shoot, we do it because y'all are here." I mean, that's we've said it before. We'll say it plenty of times again. We do it because y'all show up, and y'all have been absolutely supportive the whole time, and it's been awesome.
Amazing.
Let's see.
And speaking of being here, you saw Joe V just hit us
I was
with a tip, man.
fixing to get down to that. Joe V just hit us with a $20 tip. He said, "Do you think we addressed our secondary problem? I like the Grant pick. Reminds me of a young Neal, hard hitter." I don't know about young Neal, if you're talking about Keanu Neal, but I think that they went in with a very concerted effort to work on this secondary. I felt like they came in with almost like a mission statement of trying to fix those secondary woes, and I think they put a good effort towards it with what you did in free agency and what you did in this draft. I think that they put in a very good concerted effort. Adam, what is your feelings on that?
On the secondary, I kind of knew. I was studying D when we hired him. I studied his D quite a bit. He runs a lot of different formations. So, like that's one thing. I think there was a quote. He's like, you can't go into a game with one game plan. There's got to be multiple. And I absolutely fell in love with that quote. You don't really see that. It actually, me as a defensive coach, I kind of took something from that. So it was pretty cool. And he actually is on a few podcasts that I listened to. So I was able to really dig deep, really get into his brain. So I knew the safety overhaul was coming. I knew they were going to get some bodies in the corner. And like, people got to remember, this isn't a 1 year thing. Like I think, like, to be honest, we set ourselves up pretty nice. this year. I don't know how good we're going to be, but they made some really sound moves to actually get the foundation of this team and move it towards the right direction. Like Fabian Moreau, it gets glossed over by everything. And I think he's going to be like, he was misused in Washington. So
absolutely,
we're going to use him on the boundary on the outside, opposite of AJ Terrell. And I think the new kid Hall, he looks like he's going to slide right in there. Like Aaron Freeman kind of compared him to Brian Poole, RIP. Brian Poole is my kind of guy.
Is he still out there?
I don't know.
Last time I looked, why hadn't somebody
is,
snapped him up?
Yeah.
He's
so good. Jets fans are trying to get him back. Yeah, he's really good. But he's got that I call it Cali swag. He's got that Cali swag to him. He hits you. He'll cover you. He'll let you know that he hit and covered you. So he does a little bit of everything. So I'm excited. And then just with the safeties that we have, there's so much interchangeability between them. Between Harmon, I think like. If you talk about range, having Grant and Harmon there, that's the best. Like whatever coverage we're gonna run, I have faith with whoever is gonna be back there. Because Harmon can play deep third and play cover 3 or cover 2 or whatever we're gonna run, and so can Richie Grant, and they both can slide into the slot. They both can play slot receivers. So, like Dean Pease absolutely has his fingerprints all over this offseason, and just him in the building. Man, it's special, and I'm really excited to see the secondary work, because that's it. Like no matter who the pass rush has been, this secondary, like we've been letting guys fly wide open.
I mean,
look,
it ain't hard to complete passes when ain't nobody on them. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And Speed Falcon for Life just asked, pound for pound ATL. Now what happens with Kendall Sheffield and Isaiah Oliver? They fight for a job. That's what happens.
You know what? Exactly.
I mean, get up.
Exactly. That was my exact point about
they fight for a job.
Because,
they better come in. You know,
Adam nailed it, because I do think people don't talk enough about Fabian Moreau. Like I do think that he fell out of favor with the the coaching staff in Washington for whatever reason, and I think Kyle Smith, like I said, why is that?
Ron Rivera, he does not value secondary like he does defensive line. You think? I mean, look at what he did with Josh Norman. He let him walk. Okay, look at what they were just like. Come on, Bradbury. Julio Jones turned that man into toast.
Great point.
And so like Ron Rivera, he's again his philosophy, from what I have seen, him coaching in Carolina and stuff. It's not like he doesn't worry much about the secondary. He's going to try to run you over with his defensive line and. Let the rest of it go. But anyway, back to what you were. I wasn't trying to run you over there.
No, but that's a good point though, because I think that if Moreau can take the outside, like I said, listen, a lot of these guys being able to compete on the inside, because it's a couple of guys I want to focus on. Really, I'll start with Richie Grant. I'll start with the safeties and work my way to the corners. Richie Grant, when Terry Fontenot said he'll knock the taste out of your mouth, I love.
He said to take the ball or not to taste out your mouth.
Listen, I need that, because and Big Jimbo nailed it last night. He got that Florida boy swag that we kind of need on our defense. That confidence and swagger, we nailed it on the thumbnail, because that's what he brings. I think he is kind of the antithesis. That's the word. Hey, $5 word. Antithesis of all of that. But safety position, like I said, I'm really, really comfortable with the safety position. But hey, these two corners. Like I said, you talk about, backyard scrap, let's fight. That's what these two guys are. Because and especially Darren Hall, it sticks out in his game. It's like, I don't care what size you are, I don't care who you are, receiver 1, receiver 2, let's line up, let's play some football. And I think a guy like that will make more plays than he won't. He won't get caught out of position. And I think what separates him from his other counterpart, DeMonte Casey, is he's a little bit better tackler. I think that what you see him is a willing tackler. Like, he's not a guy that, misses too many tackles. So, like to see that. Now, our X factor here, I think, out of the secondary is this guy, Avery Williams, out of Boise State. I saw a lot of him on special teams. Again, I'm always big on guys with versatility from the standpoint that as good of a kick returner as Cordero Patterson is, Patterson is not a punt returner. We still have an open position at the punt return position. So I think his ability maybe to provide some plus value as a secondary guy. I mean, he's made a lot of plays. Very scrappy guy, very willing tackler. little bit on the small side, 5'8", 180 pounds, not really a big guy, but he's a guy that, again, if he may steal some snaps on the defensive side of the ball. So this competition right now is nothing but healthy.
It's going to be amazing. It is going to be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Ricky Fontaine said, do you all think the Falcons taking a wide receiver late is an indicator about potentially off-season trade if the right team wants to go? Talking about Julio Jones. I don't think Frank Darby pushes the needle as far as like trading Julio Jones. If you want to point at anything about trading Julio Jones, it's Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. But not Frank Darby. Now, Frank Darby might push Olamide Zaccheaus off, or he might push off, Russell Gage, depending. Now, I know that, he's Frank Darby's a deep threat, but I've heard a lot that he needs to get more polished on his route running. Now, if there's any group that he can come in and learn route running from, I mean, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage,
don't get no better.
This is a good group to be learning how to run a route. That much is for sure. Let's see.
Absolutely.
What's up?
Let me tell you a little bit about Frank Darby, because I watched the Senior Bowl. Now, he wasn't as impressive as catching the ball as his character was. He's got such a high-ranging character, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Falcons brought him in, because he has this high-ranging personality that just glows in the room. He's a very joking guy. He lights the room up with laughter and stuff like that, and that's what he brings. You need that type of guy in the locker room to make light of things, especially if you have a losing day and you have a guy like that can still bring some positivity into the room. Now, do I think he can make this team? Yes, I do, because he reminds me of Aldrick Robinson. Okay,
yes,
when we had him over here, he was a deep threat with the Washington football team.
Yes,
so that's what he reminds me of. Now, if he can bring that to the table in the NFL, other than the character, that the high character that he has, then cool. I just don't see that yet. I just see a guy that comes in and is going to be able to bring, that type of person to make light of things, and especially in practices, because they're going to get pushed to the limit. I can tell y'all that right now. Arthur Smith and that crew is going to push these guys till they can't be pushed anymore. So you need a guy like that.
Hey, Toby, I gotta expound on that point, because you know what? I looked at Darby's interview after he got drafted by the Falcons. Man, you talk about hope, inspiration. You could tell that kid, it's been hard for that kid, right? You could tell that, like, this day, huge for him. Like, everybody is going to be excited for him. It's a lot of people rooting for that guy, right? And I think that's exactly what he said. I want to just bring energy to the team every day. I want to just bring my personality every day. And I think, you know what? We need that, because, the Falcons are a team right now where we need strong personalities. We need some guys that we can rally around. I think that Frank Darby will be a fan favorite. He will be the guy that will, go on Instagram and interact with the fans and just be out in the community and stuff like that. And again, that's another character guy that will do exactly what is asked of him. I think that he may provide a little bit of plus side value on special teams, because, hey, he's, like you said, probably still at the maybe fifth receiver.
Yeah, but I think he's
like
a guy
you said, he's going to have to work hard.
That given the right opportunity, I think he's a guy that can grow. Like, I know I saw some like early comparisons, people like comparing him to like Antonio Brown, as far as like the fact that nobody had Antonio on their radars, and then he just kind of exploded, so to speak. And so I think that, Frank Darby is a guy who can come in and really give some quality reps if given the shot. And there's a good possibility that he's going to be given the shot to do so. And that's the part that I really like about all this. Charlton Nash was it Charlton Nash? He asked, like, could we see 6 lineman sets on the offense? I think we could see any kind of set that Arthur Smith feels like he needs to run to open up holes or keep his guys up, as far as, keep Matt Ryan up. False Start Falcon says, okay, we're here now. What do we do? What we do is we try to figure out now how all these puzzle pieces fit together. And that's where this fun is going to be. That's where, if y'all aren't following Adam on Twitter, you really need to lock in, because that's where guys like him, really start shining as far as breaking down how these people fit, in the roster that we have, and it's this is where the fun is had now. I know some people were saying something about like, they wanted either Kellen Mond or they brought up another quarterback as far as like wanting to just draft. But I think by signing A.J. McCarron, you allowed yourself not to be forced into a QB run, because you had that QB run
exactly
around the end of the fourth or so. Where you had Davis Mills, Ian Book, go. They drafted my guy Sam Ellinger. I was sad the Colts got him. That hurt my heart. No, it really didn't hurt my heart. But no, it's they're not done. They're going to add another quarterback. You're not going into this camp with just A.J. McCarron and Matt Ryan. So they've even come out and said, look, we're not done. There could still be trades. People are going to get cut, stuff like that. So this roster's not 100% done, but it is much closer now than we have been, honestly. And we're starting to get a clearer picture with the size of the, offensive linemen that they're taking. Then you turn around and look at the other trench with the defensive linemen that they're taking that we haven't really even touched on yet. You got the defensive end / defensive tackle out of Texas, Taquan Graham, who, man, that looks like a very stout, versatile lineman right there. What I've been able to watch of him this afternoon, that's been an enjoyable watch. And then you also had, I'm not even going to attempt to butcher this man's name. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it.
That's what I'm gonna
do is I'm just gonna.
Nope, y'all.
I'm just gonna call him Big AO.
Make him.
That's all. That's all. That's what I'm gonna call him.
Y'all make AO do it.
I'm not even gonna try.
Let's do the pepper.
Y'all, if I try, y'all are just gonna do nothing but just lambaste me in the comments. So Big AO.
Let's go.
No, don't you do it. I'll make you say it.
No.
Big AO out of Notre Dame. If I'm not mistaken, he was their sack leader this year.
Yep.
With 7 sacks, and that man looks strong off the attack. He looks like he is more than capable of moving offensive linemen around. And he had quite a bit of tackles for loss, if I'm not mistaken, which is an indicator I look for in defensive linemen, is what's your tackle for loss, because that lets me know, like, how engaged are you in the plays, Right. But what's your early thoughts, guys? I'm going to start with Toby. What's your early thoughts on the two defensive linemen that we took up?
I know a little bit more about Taquan Graham because he was one of my 10 on my list than I do
Big AO.
I didn't really get a chance to study AO as much. And I don't like to do a lot of highlight tapes. I don't want to watch a highlight tape. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to pass that off kindly over to Adam, man. What you thought about it, Adam?
Do it, Adam.
Ogun Day? Ogun Day? I don't know.
Don't do it to yourself.
All right, so Big AO. That's what I'm talking
about. So Big AO, from what I've seen, man, I watched 2 games from Duke. Just physical, like super, super physical. He's got, like, to me, he looks like he's got some really long arms. And if anybody watches any of the film breakdown I do for edge rushers, because that's the position I love to break down. Anytime somebody's got a nice long arm, that I post that and I just say how much I love it. And I watched him do it 3 times in one game, so I'm automatically a fan. Like, that's just how it works. But for one play, he took the Duke. He came around the bend, took the tackle, and jacked him right into the quarterback, causing a fumble. And he had me at that. So other than that, his against the run, when guys are pulling, he's kind of hesitant on that. He does stand his ground, but if anybody's watched Ojulari punches into the backfield, and I think he's just got to get used to using more leverage that way. But against the run, he's not a complete liability. There's a little bit of tackling issues, but things like that, you got the length. You can figure that out for sure. But his pass rush is nice. He's got some moves. He's got an inside swim that he likes. But yeah, like I've always said, if a pass rusher doesn't have a plan when he's attacking a tackle or a guard, you're not going to make it far in the NFL. You can't win with just leverage or just overpowering people, because that doesn't work in the NFL. You have to have something that separates you and is able to get you off of a guy. He does that well. I question his counter move. Like, if his first move gets stopped, I don't know if he has something to get counter, but he's got a lot of resources in the NFL, including Chuck Smith, who's right there in Atlanta. So, I mean, hopefully he uses them. Hopefully, Brandon Jackson, he's another D-line coach I know, works in Atlanta, and I know JTM's working with him right now. So hopefully he just can, like, pass rush is an art form. You constantly have to be at it. It's hand play, it's leverage, it's body weight, it's bent. Like, there's so much to it. He's got a ways to go, but early on, I like his play strength and I like the leverage he plays with. So either way, these guys are going to play, because our defense, our front seven is lacking. Exactly.
Jarrett Warren just tipped us $10. Thank you for that, Jaron. He said, "I'm just going to put this out there. Caleb Huntley, the running back out of Ball State, looks like a steal." So that gives us, by my count now, 2 undrafted free agent running backs to add to that room.
Ooh, yeah, we're gonna get on those guys. I like.
That Javian Hawkins looks real good. I know that was somebody that they were eyeing in the draft process. And now I'm looking at this somebody. I think it was one of your boys, Devontae, on Twitter. Adam just retweeted a clip of Caleb Huntley out of Ball State, and yeah, that's a good looking run. I like the way he fights there. So this running back room is going to be interesting. Like, by not taking a running back, that seems to tell me that they're maybe a little bit more confident, obviously, in Mike Davis. Like, right now, he's your lead, right? He's your lead back. But you can definitely tell the style that they had, because they got rid of Ito, a little bit of a smaller back there, and but Quadre Olison's still on the roster as of right now, and I'm wondering if they have seen something, in Olison's tape from Pitt that maybe has them a little bit more excited, because I don't know why. I don't know if it was pass protection. I don't know if it was the way he practiced or what have you, but he could not see the field under this old regime.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that's like a diamond in the rough, so to speak, on with Quadre, if they feel like they've got something there, and maybe that's what kept them from, pulling the trigger on drafting a running back. Sir.
So JR, I gotta go back, because we got to go back to your boy Adita Kumbo.
Oh, come on
Ogundeji. There you go. That's what I've been waiting on.
You did it.
I've been waiting to talk on
just show off, why don't you?
Yeah, I had to because y'all waited for me last. So it's like, Adita Kumbo Ogundeji. You got to say it with me, baby. Because when you draft a guy that, and again, like I said, I know, hey, call me a homer for the comparisons, but I do see a little bit of Yannick Ngakoue, just a little bit in his tape, because he's aggressive.
That's fair.
The one thing that sticks out to me a little bit about this guy is just, he takes it to the offensive tackle. Rarely do I see him getting caught up in the mix. He looks like a guy that's going to push the pocket at the very least. So I think very good pass rusher, but I think that he'll offer much more value against the run than we realize, because this is just a guy that, like I said, he's just so aggressive. He'll make some splash plays. Those tackles for losses, like I said, it sticks out. It just jumps out at me. So again, man, another guy that, we'll see. Like I said, Dean Pease will have fun with this guy, man. But he's going to need a good pass rushing guy, a good coach just to keep him, to make him elite. Because he's got the tools to be elite. He definitely got to be coached up a little bit. But
the more I'm digging into it, the more I'm liking the pick quite a bit. All right, I'm going to scroll back up here and try to catch some. We got a lot of folks in here tonight, and the chat is popping, and I am loving it. Marlon Johnson says, this looks to be a playoff team for sure. Okay. What I'm going to say there, what I'm going to say there is this team looks to be right now more competitive than it was last year. Now, what the coaching staff right now, it is going to be a lot on what the coaching staff can pull out of these guys, like flat out. Because I honestly believe the past 2 or 3 years, that has been one of the, I feel like that's one of the things that has held us back quite a bit is the coaching staff. So now we have a completely new coaching staff. The real question is, how quickly does this team get up and running under this new coaching staff? You see what I'm saying? Like how quickly do they get their feet under them and we're playing? Like if it's a 4 or 5 game maturation process, this is going to be a transition season. Like it's going to be like the 2015 when Quinn got here. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm looking for this year, at least as of right now, the final day of the draft, what I'm looking for is a team that comes out and is competitive and plays hard and, plays in what looks like could be in sync. That's what I'm looking for in year one underneath Arthur Smith, Dean Pease, all those guys. Now, next year, I look for them to be I want them to be a playoff team next year. Like if we're not a playoff team next year and everything's looking like, hand grenades, we might be revisiting this draft going, dadgum, I like Kyle Pitts, but maybe we should have started rebuilding. You see what I'm saying? We won't know. We won't know for 2 or 3 years if we made the right call this year. I mean, it sucks.
Right.
But that's why I said the other day, I wish we'd have been in this position 2 years from now. As far as where we were drafting with the quarterback talent, because that would have been an easier decision. So, but we're not going to get into that per se. We're going to, it is. It really is. And we got all summer to argue about it.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't mind.
I mean, look, I've already told everybody my position, right? I think we're going the way I thought we should go. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I think anybody that follows me knows that I was kind of just because where we were and just because the QBs that were available, I thought that was the way to go. Just seeing how depleted the roster was overall, and it's not even from a starter level standpoint. It's the depth that worried me the most as well, because it's like AJ Terrell goes down, there goes our secondary more or less, right? But Kyle Pitts, I think me and Toby around the same time were on that Kyle Pitts train. I think just around that same time. But he was a guy I've been saying for about 90 days, to 2 months now, that he's been my guy, right?
Right.
That I think that's the way that they're going. I didn't believe that they loved the quarterback this cycle. And if they did, it was Trey Lance, and obviously we didn't have the opportunity to pick him.
That would have been an interesting conversation.
But the second
had he been there,
potentially,
and it come down between him and Pitts, that would have been an interesting conversation to have.
Go ahead, Abs. Go ahead, do your thing.
So when I rationalized that we're going Kyle Pitts, I made the decision that, okay, this team is going to win now. That's why when people say about Kellen Mond in the second, that was never a realistic opportunity for us, because we've committed to winning now. This team, this regime said, we're going to take Matt Ryan. We're going to give him, I'm going to say 3 years. I'm going to say we're going to give him 3 good years of continuous building around him. We've built around him. He's got the weapons. If the offense doesn't work, we're going to move that guy out. We're going to bring a new guy in. So he's going to have his place. We're going to build up the defense the next 2 years, and by the 3rd year, we should be full throttle, ready to go to compete, right? But I think the thing that's going to worry me next year is that we have a softer schedule, not against big-time quarterbacks like we did this year. We don't face Russell Wilsons. We don't face Patrick Mahomes. We don't face those big-time quarterbacks. I worry if we come out with a 9 or 10 win shocking season, because it could end up that way, because New Orleans doesn't know what we're doing. Carolina, they're kind of in the middle of things, so we don't know what they're doing. They got a young team as well. Tampa Bay's Tampa Bay. They're probably gonna do well. So I don't want us to be going into Dan Quinn mode after next year if we somehow get 10 wins and then get shit kicked in the playoffs, right? And then be like, okay, you know what? We got into the playoffs. Let's give up draft capital to move up and get. I don't know. I'm just saying Thibodeau next year. He's the like. I don't want to
restart the almost like restart the Julio Jones thing. Oh, we're one player away.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of deal.
And constantly
that one player away. I don't like that mentality, and I'm with you 100%.
Hate it. I hate it. Yeah.
So
on a somewhat side note, we were talking about quarterbacks. Look, Adam, you just tweeted it out, and Jimmy brought it up in chat. Jimmy's peeking in at work here. Looks like we just signed Felipe Franks, so that adds to your.
I already knew that was. I knew that was coming.
I knew something like that was coming.
I knew that was coming.
But
that's not. Hey, go ahead, Toby.
I will say this. I said this from the beginning, and I'll stand on my stance with that, just like the Kyle Pitts thing. I said this from the beginning. The Falcons, I did not believe that they were in a rebuild. And this is when I first came back to the show, fellas. We go back and check that out. I believe that they were trying to win now, and after that, Rich McKay confirmed that that's what they want to do. They feel they have pieces to be able to do that. The other thing I would say is this. I believe that this team is a playoff team. And I said this even before the draft. And the reason why is when you have 7 teams that can make it into the playoffs. And I know fans don't want to hear that, but whatever your record is, you can make it into the playoffs. You need that barometer to really see where your team is going into next year. And I believe that you have a team, when you got the 8th weakest schedule in the league, you're only playing 4 teams that have actually won their division. Man. Okay. This team felt like Jerry's Fontenot and Arthur Smith felt like that this team could compete and be able to get in. And with the coaches that we have right now is the jury's still out on Arthur Smith. We don't know everything that he's going to bring to the table or anything like that. But I believe in Arthur Smith that he's going to get Matt Ryan back to his roots of his earlier days, being here with Mike Mularkey and Mike Smith. And that means running the football, number 1. Right. Number 2, him being a field general and being able to run that team with more no-huddle than we remember under Kyle Shanahan, because they don't run a lot of no-huddle because they want to be the guys leading the pack when it's come to calling plays. Matt Ryan is going to get back to who Matt Ryan was. He's 36, so he's not in his 20s anymore. But I think we're going to see a semblance of an offense that's going to cater to what Matt Ryan has done best throughout his career. Because of Arthur Smith's connection with Mike Mularkey and some of the other coaches that Matt Ryan has dealt with over the years, they're going to cater a plan that's going to work with the modernized NFL, with the RPOs. Matt Ryan, he can run RPOs, okay? Right. We've seen him do it over the last few years with the Atlanta Falcons and have had success with it. So I do believe that they're going to give Matt Ryan every chance they can. But I will say this, if Matt Ryan fumbles, I do not see him going past this year. I will go on the record saying that. Because Matt Ryan has had issues with dealing with first-time coordinators in the NFL, and that is no secret. It has been out there. Okay, so I do see that they're going to give Matt Ryan a chance, yes, this year to prove that he is the guy going forward. But I do believe if he struggles and it does not work out, he will not probably be a Falcon after this year, and we'll be going to Julio Jones. So I'm on record.
So Toby, like why you getting me fired up? Like you fired up, I'm fired up because you got fired up. Because I will say this as well. There are no more excuses for Matt Ryan right now. And I'll be honest with you. You got Kyle Pitts. You got Hayden Hurst. We smell smoke on Julio Jones. You got Calvin Ridley. You got Frank Darby. We got weapons everywhere.
I'm not just worried necessarily about weapons. But you also got the starting makings of a completely rebuilt offensive line and a coach who is going, by all indications, is more dedicated to the run than you've had in almost 10 years. So you shouldn't be asked to throw 40 times a game.
Absolutely. But here's my point, though. My point is this, though. It goes back to what do you do? This is a weapons league. What do you do with the weapons that you have? We are a little bit more explosive than we were last year. And here's the thing. Let's look at where we were weak at. No, we got to talk about it, JR. We're gonna talk about Matt Ryan today, and then we're gonna move forward with our lives because we did not pick Justin Fields. We did not pick Trey Lance.
We didn't have a chance.
We did not. We did all the videos. We did all of that.
We didn't pick Mac Jones.
Hey, but look, God. Hey, but listen, that's another right. Another conversation for another day, though. But that
like would have been the one. That would have been the one that set me
right off the edge.
So no, I think that we got a coach, we got a head coach that plays to Matt Ryan's strengths. Like I said, his ability to off play action, I think, has been fantastic for his career. I do think Arthur Smith will put Matt Ryan in a lot of positions. My thing is this:
of course,
he still has to go out there and execute. Matt Ryan is capable, but this is a year, very pivotal year, that if he has a Kyle Pitts, a Julio, and all these type of people, the rumblings will be too loud because he survived by a hair this year with everything. So we can't. So we there's not another year where this will happen. So for all of the people that are like, man, we missed out on generational talent.
Look, I'm not.
Let's lock in on who we got right now.
Again,
and
as far as the QBs go, we ain't gonna know what's up with them for another 2-3 years down the road. Same thing with everybody. Like the fact that we're willing to,
it's just,
that a lot of people are willing to call somebody a bust who is still on the rookie contract is, beyond me. I'm not down with that.
Yeah,
like let's get to the end of your rookie contract before I determine whether you're a bust or not. Because everybody learns at a different scenario, especially when you have a regime change. I mean, right now, honestly, we could be unleashing a beast in Deidre Sanat that ain't none of us seen coming. I don't believe it. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Nobody believes it. Nobody. Ain't nobody gonna go there with me. Look, we were gonna go on a trip. We were gonna walk down the trail.
I was like, you said Deidre.
He might not even be on the roster.
Deidre forgot. Well, we talked about that.
Deidre forgot. That's right. Deidre forgot.
Yeah,
no,
I can't ride.
I tried to get y'all to go down this trail with me, and y'all just let me just walk by myself.
But keep going there.
It's too dark on the trail. You walk
nah, bro.
I had a lantern around here somewhere.
I go anywhere with you, Jay.
No, okay, fine. I see how y'all gonna do me. Let's jump back in the chat here a little bit.
Anyway,
it's popping off big time. Let's see. Okay. Bubblegum says 71-year-old DC who has been retired didn't come back for a rebuild process. And that's what I keep seeing a lot of, but we're going to find out.
Right.
I mean, what he did say about this roster is they were young and they like to hit. So we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Ghost Pepper.
We're even
younger now. Ghost Pepper brings up Marvin Wilson, Dylan Moses, Paris Ford, Jamie Newman, Darius Washington, Malik Herring, Jared Patterson all went undrafted. Wow. All right, well, Wilson signed. I ain't seen anything about Moses yet, or Paris Ford
yet.
Dylan Moses signed with Jacksonville. Paris Ford is just a bad player.
He's just a bad player. I know Jamie Newman signed with somebody. I saw him signing with somebody. Malik Herring is still...
the Eagles. He signed with the Eagles.
All right, so we're going to keep right on. Fred Butts asks, I need all the opinions. What do you think? Do we keep Julio Jones this year? I say yes.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
I say it was something interesting to talk about. I don't think that they're going to get enough compensation to move Julio Jones myself. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, you bet your bottom dollar we'll have a video going, man, I'm wrong. We just traded Julio Jones.
I think the one thing people aren't talking about is potentially Hayden Hurst being moved. So Arthur Smith ran a lot of 12 personnel. Everybody knows that by heart. But I think for the most part it was to make up for their O-line injuries last year. From what I've studied, I look back when they didn't have those injuries and they ran a lot of 11 personnel, which is one tight end. So maybe he doesn't get traded this year. I don't know if they pick up that option this year because if they're more into the 11 personnel, then they're fine with Pitts. They could run 11 personnel and it'd be really, really fun this year with Hurst as a tight end and Pitts out wide, right?
That would be
that would be fun to watch.
I would be
right?
I think that if they were correct me if I'm wrong here, folks, especially in the chat, guys, y'all guys. I believe if they were going to pick up the 5th year, it would have been last year that they would have had to pick it up. I thought.
I think it's this year.
I know with Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Did Hayden come out in the same draft as Ridley?
Yeah,
okay.
It came out.
I think so.
He got drafted right before Ridley did. So it came out 2018, right? Yeah, both of them.
Wait, Baltimore passed on Ridley for Hurst?
Hurst came. Yeah, right. Hurst was actually
right. And then, I mean, technically speaking, also passed on Lamar Jackson for Hurst, and then come back for Jackson. Yep. So, so I'll be interested to see, like, how much of Arthur Smith's scheme in Tennessee was dictated by the roster that he had. That's the part that I'm extremely interested about, because everybody loves to make the big deal about the 12 and 13 personnel, but it was blocking tight ends that was on the field.
Well, the 13 personnel was the extra tackle.
Exactly.
It was the offense tackle. So it technically it is 13. It's more than 12, right? Because and you know what? It's actually funny you say that, because a couple of times they threw to that tackle. Yeah, Arthur Smith talked about that on Bussin' with the Boys. He's like, man, we almost got him in the end zone a couple times.
But what drew my eye initially, and I've said it a few times now, but what drew my eye initially to Arthur Smith, like the day after we fired Dan Quinn, I was like, all right, who's out there? And what drew my eye to Arthur Smith was what he was able to do with molding an offense that made Ryan Tannehill successful. And then molding an offense that took Derrick Henry to a 2,000-yard rusher. Like, don't get me wrong, Derrick Henry is a beast. But before Arthur Smith got there were questions whether he was a bust. With DeMarco Murray and all that, they were like, oh, this kid ain't nothing.
So let me ask you this, though. With the way the Falcons are currently set up, would you say that Arthur Smith had an offense that was this talented with Tennessee? Now, we know Tennessee had a really good defense, but this is the best assortment of raw talent that Arthur Smith has ever had since he's been in the league. So I think that's
you can miss me with the Tannehill is better than Matt Ryan. That's he might do some things better, but overall he is not a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. Now, if you could say 1-for-1 in the sense of A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, as far as like
that's a 1-on-1 and
your wide receiver ones. I believe Calvin Ridley was better than Corey Davis. As far as that goes. Down. Now, the interesting thing where you talk about like talent matchup, like is Derrick Henry. Like that's the X factor for Tennessee.
That's the X factor. Exactly.
Our X factor.
That's what I was saying. Okay, so then do you shift your X factor to
and Ridley? No, Ridley's still an X factor.
The X factor of
But I feel like AJ Brown and Calvin Ridley kind of cancel. They're kind of AJ Brown's more physically dominant. Ridley's like but I feel like they cancel. They don't have a Julio though. They don't have a Pitts.
Yeah, because Jonnu Smith
is not Pitts.
I have the numbers or whatever, but Jonnu Smith and Hayden Hurst's numbers match up almost like 1-for-1 as far as So you could more compare Jonnu and Hurst. Pitts is on a whole nother level. And
I don't think people really realize how good that dude is. I don't think people understand.
As a Georgia Bulldogs fan, I know just how good he is. I just feel like I'll be honest with you. He took an average Florida team to almost and won the SEC championship almost by
Kyle
himself.
Trask in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah, in the
Heisman conversation.
Come on, bro.
You got Kyle Trask.
Come on, man. Like, we talking about making average players better. Come on, man. Like, you know what? If that's your knock on Matt Ryan, he's an average quarterback.
You just got a guy that's going to make him look
Kyle
like
Trask was an average quarterback.
Granted, we're not going to talk about Harry Douglas having over 1,000 yards or Roddy White being, turning into a Hall of Famer, or not Hall of Famer, but Ring of Honor. But we ain't going to get into that with Matt Ryan.
Now, I will say this about the Arthur Smith offense, because I tweeted this out early on about the no-huddle. They were the third team in the NFL that ran the no-huddle the most, besides Arizona and the New York Giants.
I'll be glad if we get back into that. Like, straight up. You run that.
I believe we're going to get back.
You run that 12 personnel and catch the defense in a base package and start running a no-huddle. Yeah, you can make some things happen. Flat out. Ghost Pepper asked us a question. We touched on this earlier, and I want to kind of circle back around to it. Ghost Pepper says, do y'all think Drew Dalman can beat out Matt Hennessy for center? And yeah, I think that's why he got drafted. I think that's why he got drafted. To Big says, do you know the crazy thing nobody's addressing is that Marvin Wilson went undrafted? Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but we talked
about this. I said, like, look, attitude permeates, man. I'll tell you this, because remember when I gave we talked a lot this weekend, man. But one of the things we talked about is, you know why Hamza Nasruddin got drafted is that on a bad team, you see him hustling and just, like I said, refusing to quit. What I see is, and what these coaches might hear in the interviews is a guy that might feel like he's already arrived. He's been a 5-star guy since he was in 11th grade. So he went to Florida State, was supposed to be the guy, showed flashes, but again, sometimes you might physically be the guy, but if you're not mentally the guy, then again, a guy like that with all that talent is going undrafted. And again, has he gotten picked up by anybody as of yet? Now, unless I would love to have him. Now, he concerns aside, but
he signed the biggest undrafted free agent contract. I think he got about $60K. It was 180 something guaranteed, but
or 160K guaranteed, $30,000
signed with the Browns
signing bonus, which is crazy for an undrafted guy.
Yeah. Browns had a great draft.
Yeah, Browns have had
a great draft.
If they
if
they don't do something this year,
I'm telling you right now.
Oh man. Anyway, let's see. Let's get into chat a little bit more because we are moving right along. Let's see. Who they talking? I don't know who they talking about. Dave says, giving up on Hennessy after a very small sample size is absurd. I don't know if it's absurd per se if he doesn't fit the style that you're wanting to run. And so at least having competition there is, I think, let the best man win at that junction.
This is a quarterback that has literally been fighting for his life to stay upright the last X amount of years. You named the amount of years, right? This competition is not for Hennessy. This is for Matt Hennessy to prove that you get the honor of blocking for Matt Ryan. For whatever that means to whoever that means it to, you get the honor of blocking for Matt Ryan. And you need to fight for that, because if I'm an offensive lineman and, now it didn't really work out in our favor with Carpenter and Jamon Brown. My goodness. Whew. I was so glad when we got Jamon Brown out of here. You see what I'm saying? This is a little bit different situation. So I think two young, hungry guys with talent that, the coach says, you know what, this guy's a little bit hungrier. It does nothing but help us. And again, that immediately helps us in the run game because we need it. We need some road graders. We need to push some guys
Anonymous
back.
says, I've been saying for a while we should draft a QB that fits our system and not a winning QB. Terry said we're going to lean on Matt Ryan and draft a QB low to develop for the future. I don't know. I mean, we'll see if Franks can be that guy. I know he's had flashes, but, Toby's over here shaking. Look, I'm trying to be positive, Toby. No? Okay. All right, fine. Franks is not that guy. We'll try to get that guy next year.
You're playing for a team with Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask takes your job, dog. You got to go get Arkansas. No, dog. I don't know. Listen, man.
Hey, look, Wallace Smith, he went down the trail with me with Sanat. He said, I'm with you, Sanat, because Quinn didn't use him because he was playing a lot of defensive ends at defensive tackle. So Wallace is going to walk down that trail. Thank you, Wallace, for walking down that trail.
Wallace. We saw DeAndre Sanat's greatest offseason ever. We were excited about it, his Olympic-style workouts, but we got the same result.
Stomach and all that. It was great, right?
Oh, man. Cinder blocks and everything.
Adam,
it was great
Adam
to watch.
About to say something. Adam, what you about to say?
Sorry about that.
I don't know. Hopefully there's not some we used him as a three. Like I think he was between a 3 tech and a DN. That's all he's going to play for us. He's not going to play. He's too small to play nose tackle. And I'll say this time and time again. And I've gotten to this argument time and time again on Twitter. You can't have a small nose tackle and a small Mike linebacker.
Nope.
That does not work in the NFL. People are going to run A and B gap on you all day.
All day long.
Right. So, yeah, you cannot. No, he's not. He's going to play DN. He's going to play DN for us, and I think he's going to lose his job this year.
Too.
Just because can he be a good three tech somewhere? Maybe.
Oh, look, I'll put you on this. I joke about Fontenot just because I was the problem that Dan Quinn I felt like ran into is he was trying to like get carbon copies of players he already had. Like he tried it with Duke Riley and Deion Jones. Didn't work. Like he tried it with, in a lot of ways, Grady Jarrett and Deidre Sanat. They weren't the same player. They're the same build, but they are nowhere close to being the same player. So it didn't work, you know?
Absolutely.
And I joke about Sanat just because he has been like a ghost on the team. I've been just waiting to see his name get cut. I figured it was going to happen in the first round. Yeah, right at the first initial cuts when Carpenter was let go and Alan Bailey was let go and all those guys. I figured, Kurt Benkirk and all them. I was like, all right, where's Sanat? Yeah. Where's Sanat? Oh man, why is he still there? You know, I joke. Don't get me wrong. I was excited initially when we drafted Sanat because I felt like he could be another interior presence in the way they used the smaller defensive tackle, defensive end hybrid guys. But it just never did pan out. Like, they saw what they had in Grady, and they were trying to duplicate it, and it didn't work. So, Anonymous says, he goes, I don't know about Frank's LOL. I'm talking about deep future. Matt got a lot of time left. I think my stream is a little late for some reason. No, it's all good. I was probably scrolled back up, trying to catch like the chat's moving pretty good. So I was trying to go in.
One thing I'll say, I'm following along on the chat there. So I think this is my buddy Khalil Hunter. I'm not sure, but he's going on a rant about having small defensive linemen. And it is a disaster how Dan Quinn got these tweeners in here, constantly looking for his Cliff Averill to play nose tackle in the nickel. And I'm so absolutely sick of that. And I was hoping that we were going to get some kind of. I was hoping for Tonga from BYU. He was my favorite nose tackle in this draft. But I'm hoping that in those fronts that we're not doing that because it just creates so many problems. And our D-line rotation as a whole was just bad when it came to those things and working on stunts and stuff. It just doesn't work. You need a space eater. They didn't get one this year, so maybe they're just rolling Tyler Davidson and seeing what he could do. I know Davidson reworked that contract, but they just and I'm really hopeful Terry brings the philosophy of signing these big D linemen that are just so physically imposing and hard to run against, because that's the way to do it. And then you have these smaller linebackers behind them that can create havoc because they're clean. How do you think Devin White and Levante David did it? They got Vita Vea and Ndam Kong Su in front of them. You think anybody's touching those two guys? No, and Devin White and Levante David are free to do whatever they want. So you take a little bit of this and take a little bit of that, but either way, you can't have a small nose tackle like Sanat in the middle and have a small middle linebacker like Deion Jones, who I think his playing weight is about 220 in season. So that just doesn't work. It's not a recipe for success. And then Foy is also small. I think he's about 230, but he plays bigger. But he's still not that prototypical 3-4 inside linebacker who's about 245, 250, right? So that's my little rant. I agree with Khalil. I absolutely hate small D linemen. So I'm really hoping that we get into the bigger guys. And the defensive tackle out of Texas, I keep forgetting who we got his name. I think he's going to play DN for us, and I'm really excited about that. His athletic profile is absolutely ridiculous. I got his. I think he pushes.
I think he does too. I really do because Graham's analysis. I was looking at it on, like I said, I don't know how PFN is the one I used this year, basically because it was a free draft guide, But their analysis on Graham was out of position in the Longhorns 3-man line, but possesses a large upside due to his athleticism. He's a day 3 pick who could be used as a rotational lineman early in his career while he develops his game. So, I agree with you. And what I've been able to watch on him so far, he definitely seems like a guy who could easily push Fontenot out the door, and can get into that rotation real early with a John Kaminsky, with a Marlon Davidson. I'm going to be really interested to see how Pease deploys this defensive line. Because of Dan Quinn's love of tweener guys, hybrid guys, we have a lot of guys who, in a way, are playing out of position. So I'll be interested to see what Pease does with them.
But I do think, the guy that I'm most concerned, I would say, in this defense right now is kind of a Kaminsky, because I'm still not quite sure exactly how we're going to use him. Do we slide him down a little bit more on the inside and he's more undersized, kind of to Adam's point, or do we we keep him on the outside? Because, again, it looks like we got some strong defensive ends, but I do think, we're still a little weak in the middle. Like I said, NFL will always be made in the trenches. So I'm just a little bit concerned to see, where we go kind of in that angle. But, like nitpicks, though, I do think we do need to address it at some point. Free agency or something.
I'm just pulling this up, this real quick, right off the top of my head. And I'm just going at, body size comparisons. So I'm not saying that it's a 1-for-1 here. But Paul Kruger was 6'4", 285. All right, so now let me pull up John Kaminsky, because I think they're pretty similar as far as body type. And here we go. 6'5", 285. So
I was just going to elaborate on Mike's point there, but in my personal opinion, I think Kaminsky's going to play 5-tech or 4-eye. Whatever Grady does, and I'm not really sure where Grady's going to play. He can 2-gap wherever, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Grady's just Grady. He's going to win wherever. But I think the plan is for Marlon Davidson to be the other 5-tech on the other side. I would imagine I'm praying to God that our second-round pick from last year doesn't bust.
Me and you both.
It's just a running joke. It's a running joke at this
Hagman,
point.
Jalen Collins, Isaiah Oliver.
Yeah,
our second-round picks haven't been strong.
But I think, but I think that's where Kaminsky comes in. And Texas guy ran right through my head again. I forget his head, but I think he's gonna back up Grady. But in the nickel and the big nickel that we're gonna run as well, those guys are still gonna have flexibility to move inside. It's just, to me, the Graham pick, I don't mind the player. I think we have too many guys like him. That's my issue.
That's kind of
we have those tweeners, right? I agree. And to me,
that's the part that somebody's got to go. You can't. You don't have enough positions for all.
And that's And you're not. That's exactly what I was going to say. Look, somebody's gone, regardless of the matter. You stack up at their positions because you feel like you're going to get somebody that's going to be able to do what you need them to do.
Absolutely.
And whoever can't, they out.
Yep.
So it's good to have more than less, because you're figuring Dean Pease is going to get him some pieces out of the defense somewhere.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised at one bit. Like as much as I'm rooting for John Kaminsky coming out of a smaller school, seeming like an amazing guy.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit if come the start of the season he's no longer on roster.
Because here's the commitment I got to see out of Kaminsky. The only thing, not a nitpick, I love the player. He's got to fit this nasty profile, because I think what we're seeing is we're seeing swagger. When you're playing on a defense with a Richie Grant and you're starting to see different guys in the way they fly around the ball, you need to match that profile. You see that guy hit and knock that guy back, and you need to be able to knock that guy back and hit, because that's the speed that we playing at. Right. That's a Dean Pease.
And I'll be interested to see,
look at the Ravens, so on and so forth.
If Marlon Davidson gets the message. Like, does he come into camp out of shape?
Yeah.
But that's Marlon Davidson, though. I would say, I'm sorry, when I look at Marlon Davidson's tape, that's Marlon Davidson. Because, again, we'll call it right now. I don't think Marlon Davidson will be a bust from the standpoint that he's dominated in the SEC competition. And I've seen him play at a high level when he's ready to go. A little bit hurt. Did I think he came into camp overweight? He was a guy that it didn't benefit him to spend all that time at home via COVID, because he had more time by himself.
See, that sounded too much. That sounded too much.
He's
like
a guy
Hagman. And I.
But you're right though. But no, he's a guy. You're right. Ooh, boy, that's I love it. I love it.
Another second round pick.
I do think that he needs the structure of a coach, constantly keeping him like him being in college was good for him. He was always around the program, just always focused on football. You're absolutely right. He is an enigma, but I do think that he showed a couple flashes last year. Now he disappeared a lot last year, but again, not enough to write him off yet because he's got all the measurables to be a star and the aggression. But we just got to see. Again, we can't,
Jason Knowles asked, he says, "What's up, Pound for Pound family?" Adam, he's got a question for you. He says, "Does not drafting a running back mean that Olsen made an impression on the new regime? Do you read much into that?"
That was my biggest takeaway from them not taking it. I know they wanted a running back, but like oddly enough, Olsen fits the scheme. Like it's pretty much like they ran this at Pitt, the outside zone. Like James Conner's like the breadwinner of that scheme as well. So he goes to Arizona and he's going to fit that scheme as well. So Olsen's got the size. He does got the speed. The guy, I think he had 4 or 5 80+ yard touchdowns in college. So I know I follow a lot of the guys he trains with. He trains with Hall from our team. I always forget his name.
Brian? No, that's the other running back, Brian Hill, who isn't on the team no more.
No. But anyways, he trains with Christian Blake as well at this one gym. But he's leaner. He's definitely leaner this year. So they must have said, "Hey, man, like cut down a few pounds and we'll see what you can do." But for me, my biggest issue with him was always a little bit about vision and contact balance. And those are two of my biggest traits for a running back. You have to have vision, contact balance, burst, and he has the burst. And just ability to make people miss an open field. He can do that as well. But his vision and his contact balance, he's kind of one of those. He's like Tevin Coleman. Like even though Tevin Coleman was smaller, Augusta Wynn hit that guy and he falls over. It didn't take
much.
So QO is the same thing. I think they'll train that a little bit into him. But I think it's a vote of like if anything, it's a vote of confidence for him. And them signing Javian Hawkins doesn't do anything for him, right? Like he's a blur. He's a third down.
He's your scat back. He's not I'm not like me. The vote of confidence came when you cut Ito. Like you're bringing in Javian Hawkins because you don't have Ito anymore, right? So that was the vote of confidence, is that they decided to cut the more productive back and keep you on the roster so far. To me, that was the vote of confidence there.
Absolutely. And another reason that Dirk Cutter had
I'm glad you said it, not me.
I'm sorry, I had to say it.
Awful.
We waited 10 hours.
Not tonight.
I went 10 hours.
I got you. All right, let's see. We are bumping up on an hour and a half, so I think we're going to go ahead and start trying to wind it down some. So if y'all have got the chat,
chat's still fired up.
The chat has slowed down a little bit, so we're going to focus on that for a little bit and see. Fred Butts asked, "Do you think we bring back Todd Gurley?" No, we don't.
No,
we don't.
No.
If they do, I might drive up to Flowery Branch and just stand out there with a sign.
No.
So, ATLGA Faithful says, "Ayo, pound for pound, what's up? Love the show. Not the later draft round so much. Where's Jimmy? Jimmy's at work. And shout out to Jimmy last night coming in and saving everybody. Boy, we was flagging big time. I was looking for the white flag to start waving. We was hitting in that 5th hour, and Jimmy came in and got everybody riled up again. So,
boy,
he did. So Jimmy was the MVP last night for sure. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Tony Wright says, "I was pleasantly surprised. He's given the draft grade a B. I think right now, early on, until you see it, I mean, B is pretty good. I'm down with it. I really like the first 2 picks. The offensive linemen, if they can come in and contribute and they bring the vision that Arthur Smith has, I'm down with it. Anything that's going to keep Matt Ryan up, because that's what we need." Let's see. JS says, "Not sure why this popped up on my YouTube feed." Goodbye. Okay, he's coming in with some 28-3 jokes. All right, well, we're glad you're in here, Jay. We're not sure why it popped up on your stream either.
Okay, all right. Unfollow, unsubscribe.
No,
I'm joking.
Okay, so Sean Carter says, do you think us drafting a safety or drafting a safety, does that mean Isaiah Oliver is going to be our free safety? I don't know who. No. Isaiah Oliver might not be on this roster. Like, I don't know. No, sir. I'm not. I ain't trying. Look, I am done with moving corners to safety. I'm done with that. I don't want that no more.
Man,
look, we got enough safeties, actual safeties on this roster now. So we don't need to be moving people around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Rice says, I felt that we should have taken running back Jarrett Patterson out of Buffalo with the last pick in the 6th round instead of Frank Darby. They went by their board. Like, I can confidently say that.
Yep.
They have said that they weren't going to reach for anybody, and they went by their board. So I am down for that. Let's see. Former safety Dwayne Johnson Jr. is signing with the Falcons out of San Diego State. So that's another safety signing there. Is he actually like the Rock's kid? He can't be the Rock's kid, right?
Cool name, but
I was waiting.
I mean, because that's the picture underneath it, and I'm like, that can't be.
It was too easy. Way too easy.
I was thinking about a tweet. Put that together and put it out there.
I'm sorry, and I don't know if we got any fans in North Dakota or South Dakota. Where exactly is the South Dakota School of the Miners?
The South Dakota School of the Miners or whatever.
Can you educate me? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't even
clearly mines.
I wasn't even going to bring that one in.
It just shows if you can play, they'll find you, man. School of the Miners.
They will. Hey,
offensive tackle.
Hey, what did Terry Fontenot say? We got to look everywhere, right?
The best player available, right?
Gotta look everywhere.
Terry's not playing, bro. You're right
there. Let's see. Who is this? We got somebody out of Pitt. Who is that, Adam? You retweeted it. Who's Bryce Denis or Bryce Hargrave? What is he?
I have no idea. I'm retweeting.
You just retweeted. He got number 71, so he's got to be an O-line guy, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
He's just over there on fire. Right?
I retweet him so I can go get him out later.
He's trying to track it as we go over there.
Or I'll quote tweet it and I'll tag, like, I have a couple guys I lean on when I film study. If I'm like, hey man, what's this guy doing? I'll be like, yo, do you have a profile on this guy just so I can get a little. I have no. Half of these guys, like that safety, I don't know. Javian Hawkins, I know. Dwayne Johnson Jr., unless he's the son of the Rock, I don't know.
I got nothing for him. So that's
yeah, but Felipe
Franks.
Yeah, so he so there's one of my good buddies on Twitter, Corey. He charts every single QB throw. So every single throw a QB's made in college, he charts it. And Franks was the worst accuracy-wise of the QBs.
Awesome.
So
we got
glad he's on his team.
Anybody that thinks anything of Franks, just know AJ's
got that clipboard.
He's holding that thing.
APA clipboard holder. We got
the best clipboard holder
in the business. Best clipboard.
And AJ McCarron. I told y'all.
Brought in here for one reason in my mind, and that is scout team units to help us prepare for what we're going to face this season. Josh Allen being one of them. But anyway, let's keep moving.
All right, gentlemen. We have hit an hour and a half. Let's go ahead and give our final wrap up thoughts on this draft, and obviously we're going to dig into it as the season goes on. Adam, as you are our guest, I think it's proper to start with you. Give us your letting it all sink in right now. We're cutting up, we're joking, whatever. But what is your gut reaction telling you about this draft, the first draft under the new regime?
It's definitely promising. I would say a really good, promising draft. I think they stuck to their board, which I absolutely commend them to do, because a lot of guys go off of it, and we've been such a needs-based team, and ironically, we filled needs as we went, right? I'm really excited for the first 2 picks. I think those are high impact, high level starters year one. I'm gonna go to bat for my dude Frank Darby. He caught my guy. Like I was talking yesterday about alpha guys. Like I would say Pitts, Richie Grant, and Frank Darby are all alpha kind of dudes that you want to add to your team, right? And Hall even fits that as well, the new kid. So I'm really excited. I'm excited. I know people confuse me wanting a QB with, oh, you're a Matt Ryan hater. I love Matt Ryan. Right. I have 3 of his jerseys. If you want, I wouldn't spend over $400 on those if he wasn't my guy. I just, that was my point of view. But I'm excited, and I think playoffs. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to say that too much. I'm excited for the secondary. I really want to watch the secondary this year. I'm excited to see how they use these safeties because we have so many different flavors of ice cream, and I'm really excited to see these guys.
Mike, let's go and go with you.
You know what? I think that I'll just be honest. I'll just be honest with you. When Terry Fontenot, he talked about Kyle Pitts in this word. He fits our ethos of what we're trying to do. Terry F uses the word ethos. When Terry F uses words like that, it makes me think less and less of Dan Quinn, less and less of the old regime. Right. You know what I mean? Like we're still washing off that smell of what that was, right? So I think, this was a step forward today, in the direction of what the new Atlanta Falcons would look like. Because, we didn't get that quarterback. We didn't get this guy, but we did get a lot tougher. We did get a lot meaner. I look at every one of these guys from the top to the bottom. They all look like hard-nosed football players. There's not a guy there that we drafted. Old Avery Williams, the 5'8" guy. He probably got the biggest heart of all of them.
We're going to see.
To be honest with you. Look at the way this boy returns punts. But we're going to see. That's what makes it fun. As we always say. That's why y'all got y'all opinions. We got our opinions. We love to do it. And I'm going to tell you something. As Falcons fans right now, look, we can kill the anger. I don't care who you are, who you root for. Look, who we have is who we have. So, look, if you don't want to, talk to your brother and rise up with him. We don't have no hate on him. No, I'm sorry, JR. I got another little rant. We're going to get it out here because we've been talking all weekend, and we're going to talk about this. Here, pound for pound, we keep it real. We going to shoot it to you straight. Y'all got more months of objective content that we're about to talk about. So, you know what? Just buckle up and be ready because ain't no toxicity around here. It's going to be all love. We're going to talk about these birds, and we're going to have fun together. And, I look forward to eating wings with Toby D and JR and Adam, when you fly down,
That's right. We're
gonna get it in this year, man. So it's been a party, man. We thank y'all for rising up with us, man.
What
Toby
you got,
D,
buddy?
take us home, man. I ain't got nothing.
I don't have much to say about this class right now. I'm waiting to see. You know who my guy really is? 2 guys, Richie Grant and Pitts. I need to see how they're going to really utilize and get the best out of the other guys after that. That's pretty much all I have to say right now. I like the draft, but I don't have much of a comment to really share on it.
I will say this, as the draft is now obviously over, we're cutting up about undrafted free agents and stuff like that, horribly accurate clipboard holder QBs and the like. I will say this, what I like about this draft is it's giving me the vision that this front office has. I like the way they have conducted themselves so far as the free agent. They have done well not to paint themselves in a corner, which allowed them to, go where they wanted to go on the board, far as like what their BPA was. And I think we've got a lot of solid players. I felt like that's what this draft was going to be. We're going to turn around and look in 10 years and go, man, that guy had a solid career. And that guy had a solid career. And I'm not talking about just the guys we drafted. I'm talking about this draft class as a whole. I felt like was a just very solid draft class. And so, right, exactly. And I feel like that's the kind of guys we got. And I think they're going to come in and be able to set the tone and the culture that this new coaching staff wants to set in. A lot of coaching staffs bring in former players to do that. This coaching staff seems like they're bringing in new players to do that. And I like that. I like that. I'm really interested to see how it comes out. Like Adam, I'm very interested in his secondary. It has been hot garbage for a while. So I'm interested to see it not be hot garbage anymore. And I'm hoping that that's how this transpires. as far as this stream goes, and these past 3 days, y'all have been amazing. We have now streamed over 10 hours worth of content these past 3 days. We've had a lot of people in chat with us. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who has hung in there with us, from Bubba Gump to GA Texas Boy, the Ice Cream Man, all y'all, Jaden, all y'all are awesome.
Oh, man. Dr. Ganja,
y'all are all great. We appreciate it. Adam, we appreciate you hanging in here with us. You were here at the beginning of the draft yesterday, and thank you for coming back. I'm sure we'll try to have you on as the going back forth as the summer goes on. You have a wealth of knowledge that I would love to continue just picking your brain on.
Thanks, guys.
Plug stuff you want to plug while we still got everybody here.
Yes, sir. For sure. So a lot of you guys know, well, maybe you guys don't know, but I started a podcast with a bunch of guys that I study film with. It's specifically Atlanta. We target everything and completely unbiased. We look at everything through every point of view that you could possibly do. We're going to be hitting the draft breakdowns coming up, just state of the roster, what's next, everything. And we do mailbag Monday. So anything you want, it's at Atlanta on air. There's a few of us that pump out content, some really good wealth of knowledge kind of guys that actually do their work. And I think that's the main thing, along with these pound for pound boys. I know they do their work. I've studied with JR a little bit. Come check us out, man. Just give us a little chance and see if you like it.
As always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. We did launch a Patreon for those who want to check out that kind of thing. It's Patreon P4P ATL. Obviously, all the other obligatory stuff, merch links in the bio if you want them. No big deal there. It's just what we got out there if y'all want it. Mike, where you at?
Follow your boy, man. Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Follow me, I'll follow you back, man. It's been a blast, man. I've enjoyed it.
OBD 1991, man. Thanks to everybody for hanging with us on all these 3 days, man. It's been a humbling pleasure to be hanging out with you guys, talking about.
And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.